Okay, so we're going to start on page 82, Top H. So the first thing we're going to do looking at page 82, Top H, is figure out which view you're going to draw it from. We're going to draw this from the front view. And from the front view, we're going to ignore this little circular part up here on the top. And we're going to draw just this portion of it. Now, the same as what we did the last drawing, when we draw this portion of it, we're going to ignore the fillets and the rounds. So we're going to square off this bottom corner. We're going to square off this top corner. We're going to square this off here. We're going to come out to about this midpoint right in here with it. And we're going to draw this kind of L-shaped piece. Kind of a sideways L. Some of the dimensions we're going to do on this, we're going to make this 2 inches wide here in this dimension. And we're going to make it 3 inches tall here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So we're going to come over here to our drawing. First thing is, I'm going to switch to the front view. And I'm going to start with those 2 dimensions I just said. We're going to go L per line. Start it here, draw it 2 inches to the right. And 3 inches up. So 2 inches to the right, 3 inches up. From there, looking back over at my drawing, if this is 3 inches, I'm going to say this is another 3 to about here. And then this is a little bit further to this point. So I'm going to actually go over 5 inches for this next line. So I'm going to go to the right 5 inches. 5 inches over. Okay, so now next. We've got to do this thickness here. Again, if I did this at 2 inches thick, this is less. So I'm going to go this at 1.5. So I'm going to go up 1.5, 1.5. And then I'm going to come back over. For here, I'm going to use my skills of tracking. I'm going to track right down to there to that bottom corner. And draw that in there just like that. And now, beyond popular belief of second hour yesterday, or no, wait, sorry, this was third hour yesterday, we are not drawing a gun. Okay, this is not a gun. Once you have this shape drawn, we're going to go ahead and region that. So REG for region. And we're going to go ahead and extrude that. And looking at our drawing, we extruded that back at 0.75 we thought was appropriate. So we're going to go back at 0.75. Okay, so now, this part's drawn. It's great. Now we're going to start rounding things over. Before we round it over, we probably should change the base of this to what color we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and change this piece to, I'm going to make a Halloween gun. So I'm going to make this one orange, or sorry, gun. It's not a gun. It's not a gun, sorry. I'm going to make a Halloween shape here, not a gun. Gosh. So, back to this. So this corner, this is just a half of a circle. What was our distance across here? So when I fillet this, what radius should I make this to make this a half circle? What fillet should I make these corners? Yes. You could, but it's better to fill it here as a 3D solid. It's just a better thing to fill it at the end. So what fillet radius would I do this? 1. So we're going to go fillet, pick that corner, 1, enter, and pick this corner and enter. But I want to make it a pretty color, so I'm going to change up my colors. So filleted those 2 corners there at a radius of 1. Oh, there we go. There's my nice purple. All right, so now, looking back at my drawing. We're going to fillet this top corner up here. The radius of that is larger than this radius, so I just have been doing that 1.5. So let's go fillet. Select this top corner. And go at 1.5. Okay. 1.5 fillet there. Now next, if I look at my drawing, this inside corner is filleted. What do we think? What radius should that one be? I think 0.5 would be pretty appropriate. So yes, let's go fillet that inside corner at 0.5. And there is a beautiful looking little shape. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to look back here at our drawing. We're going to put this slot up here in the front view. Relatively simple, but let's take a look at it. So first thing we're going to do is twist this up so I can see the surface nice. There's not a cool 3D slot command, so we're just going to have to do it 2D, region, and extrude it. So, thinking back to our 2D days, I'm going to go C for circle. I want the circle to be on this surface, so I'm going to make sure I highlight this surface. I want the center of the circle to start on the center of this rounded portion down here. So I want it to be right there for my center point. And I'm going to draw the circle in. I want that circle to be a diameter of, what do we do? I think 1. 1 looks good. Diameter of 1. So I have that first circle in there. From there, I'm not going to try to do tracking and all that, try to keep it on this front plane. I'm just going to copy this one that I already did straight up. I'm going to copy it straight up 1 inch. Now, with this, if you're struggling and you can't get this selected and you keep selecting your solid object, your trick is this. Turn it to a 2D wireframe just for a bit. And I know that's kind of hard to see on the screen there. Copy it up on a 2D wireframe. Just copy it up 1. It just helps you select things a little bit easier if you're having trouble selecting it. If you're not, don't worry about it. All right, so we have this. If this was 2D, all you do, if a 2D drawing, which it is here on the surface, you just draw a line from what point right there? What point is that? Quadrant. Down to the quadrant there. From that quadrant, down to that quadrant there. And now you just trim out these inside guts. Once again, trimming is a little bit harder when you're on that surface of that 3D's object. So again, if you come over here and put it to a wireframe, trimming is just like what you're used to, and you trim out those inside guts like so. So switching back and forth from a 2D wireframe to your shaded, your realistic, or whatever, isn't a bad thing to do. Region that and extrude it. All right, from there, again, I'm making my Halloween piece. So I'm going to change this. Instead of purple this time, I mean, green is a good Halloween color too. So I'm going to go green here. So I'm going to go subtract and subtract that out. Oh, yeah, I make it green. So now I'm purple, orange, and green. Oh, totally getting the Halloween color going on. Halloween theme. All right, so now, this part of it, it's finished. It's looking great. Now we need to draw this portion of it. What view would you draw this portion from? Top. So let's go to your top view. So go to your top view. Now on this one, I honestly like sometimes drawing it over to the side and moving it into place. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go cylinder, CYL. Start my cylinder over here. And there's my fancy cylinder. I'm going to make this cylinder a diameter of, I want to say I went 3 even. I went pretty large. Diameter 3. Looking at this, I thought it was a little bit thicker than this. If you remember, we made this 3/4, so I did this at 1. Yes, sir. So now we're going to go ahead and make our cylinder for our hole that goes through this. So I'm going to do another cylinder. Make it go out there to the center of that cylinder, obviously. Let's see. Let's go ahead and go a diameter of, let's try 1.5, see what that looks like. Yeah, I think 1.5 is okay. Now, once again, I'm going to change up some colors here because I don't want it both purple on purple. So there we go, and I'm going to use subtract and subtract that whole out. So again, that was a diameter of 1.5 for that one, and I just pulled it through. All right, so let's put this into place now. If we reference our drawing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the back quadrant of the circle, and I'm going to align it with this back this back end point over here. So the way that looks is like this. Move, pick the quadrant back here on the back of the circle, and move it to the end point of that line right there, and then union those two things together. All right, so now, when you look at this drawing, only one more thing that you can see that we're missing, and what is that? Yeah, this little tiny fillet right there. So if this was a if this was a 1/2 inch fillet, what do you think this fillet would be? 1/4. Let's rotate that around, fillet that inside corner there at 0.25, and that is beautiful. Now, one other thing that you don't see here. Again, I said the thickness of this was less than the thickness of this, but we can't see that corner that's down there. If this thing was actually a part that was being made, this corner would be sharp. A sharp corner in something you design is never good. It hurts when it hits you. So when the piece hits you, it hurts. So let's go ahead and fillet that corner at 1/4 of an inch. And there, that looks beautiful. Get that put into a nice isometric view that matches the handout, something like that. Get that submitted, and that will be beautiful. Again, I always like to move it off of this X, Y, and Z, just because I don't like that in my snipping. And there you go. That's a pretty little one. Mine, nice Halloween colors, and it's great. When you save this, name this as P81 Top H. P81 Top H. And when you submit it to the gradebook, it'll be there the same, called P81 Top H. Oh, sorry, good call. P82 Top H. P82 Top H.